Succession planning for any organization can present opportunities and sometimes challenges. OSF HealthCare has recently undergone some leadership changes with an eye to the future.
There are going to be challenges, but because OSF is who we are and we have a solid foundation, our mission is not changing, that really puts us in a different space than a lot of organizations that are trying to figure out who they are. So with that, we've invested in innovation capabilities, digital capabilities, clinical capabilities that will help us continue the transformation we've been on for the last 10 years.
That's Michelle Conger, president of OSF HealthCare, and I'm Shelli Dankoff, your host for OSF HealthCare Accelerated. We appreciate you tuning in and remind you to be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. It's kind of a standard question for a child. What do you want to be when you grow up? Guessing most don't answer, I want to be the president of a major healthcare system, or its chief financial officer, or its chief strategy officer. We're taking a bit of a different slant on this episode of OSF HealthCare Accelerated, sitting down with 3 women who recently moved into new leadership roles within OSF HealthCare. Joining me are Michelle Conger, president of OSF HealthCare, Kirsten Largent, chief financial officer, and Emily Shields, chief strategy officer. First of all, getting them all here together took about an act of Congress, so we do appreciate, and your assistants, we appreciate them getting this aligned. So I'm going to ask that question. What did you want to be when you grow up? I'll start with you, Michelle.
Well, it's an interesting question because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I mean, I had several majors when I was in college, and then I ended up in a clinical role as a social worker, a care manager at St. Francis, and just had a lot of opportunities. There's not a place in the healthcare system that I haven't worked, and I think at the end of the day, I just wanted to make a difference for patients and families, and I wasn't sure how that was going to look. So this is a bit of a surprise, you're right, but certainly been a great journey.
Okay, Kirsten?
Yeah, for me, my mom was a math instructor, so I started off to be a math teacher, loved math, and when I was in college, I took an accounting class, so here's the geek in me that's going to come out, and I fell in love with it. I was like, this is fun, it's like a puzzle, I had a great instructor, so I went the accounting route, and then ended up here.
Wow, every journalist in the world is going, you loved
you
math.
Loved accounting.
Well, particularly accounting.
Right.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome.
There is that place for the special people in the world.
That's right.
I'm
We
glad
love
it's
you.
you.
We're glad.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
We love you. Okay, Emily.
So I wanted to be a teacher also, but it was actually a teacher in high school that talked me out of it. Now, I don't know if I didn't exhibit patience that I needed for kids, but he just said, I feel like you have other gifts and talents. Well, I had a family friend that owned a local marketing and advertising agency. And so one summer I shadowed her for a day and fell in love with advertising and marketing. So then I went into general business major at University of Illinois and just found my way into healthcare after various roles in sales and marketing and recruiting.
Interesting. Very interesting paths. So let's go a little deeper dive. Tell us about your journey getting to where you've landed today with all of the C word, the chief in front of your title. Tell us what that process was. Michelle, you talked about starting in a clinical role and then walk through the rest of the positions.
Yeah, I've been with OSF for 31 years. I worked for another health system for 5 prior to joining here. So there really isn't a place in a hospital I haven't worked. I've worked in the OR, the ED, oncology, all the floors. I run an ambulatory clinic. I knew I wanted to make a difference for patients, but I wasn't sure. There were so many systemic issues that I felt were in the way of helping them that I really began being interested in leadership. So I moved really transition into being an internal consultant as, a Six Sigma black belt. So I did that for a while. Then I was a master black belt. Got interested in technology, worked in IT, then moved into a corporate role, and kind of the rest is history, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Kirsten.
Right. So graduating with an accounting major, I entered into public accounting, which I highly recommend for anybody entering into an accounting career. You get to experience all the different industries. So worked in financial institutions, construction companies, and then I worked on the OSF audit. And I was like, ooh, this feels different. And that's where I would say my purpose met my calling to serve in not-for-profit healthcare. And so just entered as a hospital accountant at that time, and then just progressively worked my way through the organization, always here at Ministry Services. And, just this is now where I landed.
Emily?
So I started in recruiting. That was my first job out of college, and my husband and I lived in Chicago at that time. So I had various roles in recruiting and marketing in Chicago and sales. And then when we were moving back to Peoria, which is home for both of us, I knew I wanted to work for an organization where I could spend a career. So I was very purposefully looking for an opportunity at OSF. And there was a posting for a physician recruiter. I had done recruiting in my background and thought, well, this sounds fun. I was almost not hired. They were actually down to 2 candidates, and they had selected the other candidate. And the leader at the time went and asked for approval for another FTE so that I could be hired. So I was almost not at OSF. That's when, truly it was a calling to be here. So then I really just grew up within the physician recruitment department, was manager and director. And then 7 years ago, got the opportunity to serve as vice president of business development. And then just a few months ago, chief strategy officer. The advice I would give is just, I was always very vocal about wanting to grow and being interested in leadership. And I think that you can't just expect someone to do that for you. You need to, show that you can do the next job and be vocal about your interest in doing it.
Well, you were going to say.
No, I was just like, that's great. Yeah.
Well, and don't you think the Sisters of the Third Order of St. Francis have been running this health system since 1877, been around a long time. They continue to lead by example. They continue to help us advocate. And they also say it is a calling to be here. It isn't just random that we all ended up here. Do you feel that on a daily basis?
Absolutely. Yeah,
In what ways?
Absolutely. Well, I was so lucky. My first boss when I moved to Ministry Services was Sister Diane Marie. And, she was a huge mentor. I mean, learned so much from her. And through that process, I think, you can really see you start to bring forward your own person into work. And she really was just a fantastic mentor.
I also had the opportunity to work with Sister Diane Marie. We both kind of started close to the same time. I've also been with OSF for 31 years, so I feel like Sister Diane Marie and I kind of grew up together in the accounting division. And again, she's been a wonderful mentor. And, when I first started coming from public accounting, which is a very different environment, it's not like OSF at all. And I remember the first Christmas party I started in June, so that December, and Sister Judith Ann was up there and said, you are called to be here and we love you. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is very, very different from the corporate world. And I still feel that today.
That's exactly what I was going to highlight, Kirsten, that I had worked in other places, and especially in a larger city, I felt so much like just a number at a big company, and coming to work here, it's truly different. You tell people that when you're recruiting them, and when they start, it's one of the first things they say, that the culture is real. But I think it's our responsibility to cultivate that every day. It's our responsibility to carry on what the sisters started and what they continue to do every day. They pray for us every day. How impactful is that? Just to think about that every day our sisters are praying for us as leaders, for every single mission partner, and what they're carrying out for our patients.
Don't you still hear Sister Diane Marie sometimes?
I do. Yes. I do.
I mean, I still hear her advice, her thoughts, her passion for this ministry and where we're going, and it's huge help.
And sometimes if we shouldn't be doing something, I'll hear that.
I know.
Yes.
Like, read that contract.
That's not a good idea.
Yeah, that's right.
Read that contract really carefully.
We miss her desperately. She
Yes.
passed in June of 2024, and we absolutely. Now, she used to run when she would see me coming because I usually had a camera in tow.
Oh, yeah.
And she was
I know,
not
I know.
a fan of doing anything on
She
camera.
was great, though.
She was excellent. She was so good.
Yeah.
But she would
She
just give me
hated
the.
it.
She hated it every minute
She would
of
roll
it,
her
yeah.
eyes and she would let's just get this done.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated that about her. But and then her laugh. You could just
The whole 7th floor.
She would fill a room and a floor. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And she was so genuine. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes people, because I've had people say to me, well, the sisters aren't really in charge. And I'm like, and I was like,
Yeah, no, that's not true.
I always look at them and go, you go tell them that, and I'm going to step over here while you do that. So I love that we're emphasizing that because they very much are. They are highly educated women.
They are.
And I think that's the other impressive part. You talk about the accounting backgrounds, the nursing backgrounds. They know their stuff.
They do.
And so that's probably reassuring to you guys too.
Oh, yeah, to have their support on a regular basis and, the ability to bounce ideas off of them. It's fantastic.
Okay, we've all faced challenges in our careers. And I think as women in careers, sometimes there's other challenges that may not happen elsewhere. Tell me about maybe a challenge you faced, what you learned from it, and how it, guides you today to not be that leader to others, how it has left that lasting effect on you. I see Kirsten nodding, so I'm going to start with you on this one.
Yeah. If I think back to when I first started my career in the early 90s, it was a different time, thank goodness. But I think just being taken seriously as a young professional with young children, there's just, you walk in with, just some concerns, maybe. And so, it's hard, dads, moms, everyone to have young children, but to be able to show that you can do the job. And I have many young women that work for me right now that are just such treasures and blessings to OSF, and just offering that flexibility and trust and accountability. I mean, they can be the highest performers. So I think just kind of breaking through some of the stigma, and it has changed. I do worry somewhat with the political and cultural environment that we're in right now. So I think that's our job, to ensure we don't take a step back.
I mean, and as someone, having young kids right now, I mean, you guys both did that for us. I mean, it's good. Like, I'm getting goosebumps saying it right now. You did that for us. You did that. So it's okay for us to do both. And we need support. We need support from our spouses at home. We need support at work, though, from you guys. And it's made it so it doesn't feel like there's something I can't do because I have 3 kids and a big job.
What I find with a lot of women leaders is, sometimes it's your own voice in your head telling
agreed.
you
Yes.
that, I don't have enough experience. I need to go back and do this and check all the boxes. And, that's just simply not true. So I think, conquering that, and I think is a big part of stepping into a leadership role.
That's what I was going to say, is that probably my biggest challenge is, and it's called imposter syndrome, right? You feel like you don't have the experience, or what you said, Michelle, that's probably been my biggest challenge, is just getting over that voice in my head and feeling like, no, you deserve to be at the table and you can do the work.
Well, or somebody along the way said to you, don't speak unless spoken to. We've all dealt with that. Or that's created the voice in your head because you doubt, because somebody else projected their beliefs on you. And so you have to get past that. Okay, we've kind of touched on it, the life outside of OSF. I know all of you are very, you refer to the 3 kids. I know Grandma over here.
That's right.
So let's talk about the things that round out, because we do talk about work-life balance, and we all need to have it and walk away to it. So what are those things? So Emily, I'll start with you. I know you've got your kids range in age too.
They
and
do.
I honestly don't know how you look this put together at the time of day we are recording this. And I'm just like, back when I was your age with kids that age, there's no way. I'm like, are you kidding me? Talk about the outside of OSF world.
I'll start with, I have an amazing husband who is incredibly supportive of my career and a very hands-on dad with the 3 kids. So we have 3 kids. They are 12, 10, and almost 1-year-old. So we've got a huge age gap, but it's the best thing we ever did. But it's challenging because we are, parenting in 2 totally different stages of life right now. But the big kids are in a lot of activities. My daughter does competition dance, and my son does travel baseball and basketball. So we are really busy. And Allie, the little one, just comes along for the ride. But we also own Heritage Square in Peoria Heights, so we enjoy that work as well. That's what my husband does full time, and but that also allows a lot of flexibility for our family, and it works great. But we go to St. Thomas School in Peoria Heights. We enjoy being really involved in the school and parish, and I mean, that's about all I have time for, though. I don't have a lot of hobbies.
You will someday.
Yeah, you will. You'll get there.
It will happen, yeah.
Kirsten.
Yeah, I agree. Work-life balance is critical to ensuring you can bring your full self to work. As you mentioned, I am a new grandma, so January 2nd, Arlo Edward was born. I have 2 grown boys, so they're in their 30s at this point. And I think for downtime, we have some family property here local, and we have our motorhome out there, and everyone knows we just have an open door. So if we're there and there's a fire in the fire pit, everyone's welcome. And so I think it's just spending time with friends and family is how I refresh myself.
And holding that grandbaby.
Yes. Absolutely.
I've seen the pictures.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really cute.
It's the best.
Yeah,
It
very,
really
very
is.
cute.
Michelle.
I have 2 sons in their 20s who are fantastic. One recently moved back to Peoria, and the other one is in Champaign. And then my husband, who's wonderful, is sort of the other side of me. He is very creative. He's an artist, and he is the head curator here at the Peoria Riverfront Museum. So it's fantastic for me because I get to go to museums with sort of a personal guide. And, it's just, we love to do that. So like to travel, like to go to museums and really love art. And it's no grandbabies yet, though. Yeah,
But
they're not married.
There's a new engagement.
There's a new engagement. Yes, there is an engagement, and his fiance works here at OSF. She's a physical therapist, so yeah, really exciting.
So you're just entering into that phase of planning for a wedding.
Yes.
As the mother of the groom.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's different.
I've heard this. Yes, it's
Yes.
sort of advisory.
I've done it a couple of times.
Yes. Is that how you would describe
it? Depends
it?
on the daughter-in-law.
She's
Yes.
great.
See,
I
so
mean, yeah,
that
she's
helps.
fantastic.
It does help.
Yeah,
I mean, she's
yeah.
also probably watching, so we give her a shout out.
Yeah, Kylie Hunt, you're amazing. Yeah.
So it'll be all about picking the dress and stuff. We'll work on color and everything else with themes. It'll be fabulous. Okay, getting back to a little bit more serious tone, but I love that. That's just, I know you guys, and I think people should know you guys. I do love watching you and your husband when I see you, because you're right. I feel like there's this conversation and balance and the glow between the two of you. It's very interesting to watch. Let's talk about, in your roles, the challenges that lie ahead for OSF HealthCare. We'd be kidding ourselves to say that things are normal in the state of healthcare these days. There's so many ebbs and flows, and things are changing. We've come through a pandemic. Some of the work you did on the innovation side and the on-call side really got us through it, honestly. We stood a lot of things up, and we moved through. But now we're on the other side of that, but we still have to keep moving forward. What do you all see as the biggest challenges facing not just OSF HealthCare as a healthcare system, but healthcare in general?
Well, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think what you articulated is that there are going to be challenges, but because OSF is who we are and we have a solid foundation, our mission is not changing, that really puts us in a different space than a lot of organizations that are trying to figure out who they are. So with that, we've invested in innovation capabilities, digital capabilities, clinical capabilities that will help us continue the transformation we've been on for the last 10 years. So I think there will be challenges. We can try to articulate. It's funny, we're in the strategic planning process right now. And so we just did a chart and really trying to outline what we think those risks are and how real they are. And we have mitigation strategies for each of them. A lot of them living in the world of transformation that we've been working on for decades. And so I think OSF, regardless of what's coming forward, is in a really good position to weather that in the future.
We'll turn to the financial person
that's
and see
great.
if she echoes it.
Just speaking from, the financial lens, there's certainly challenges in the healthcare industry with regards to our payment structure and all the activity that's happening now in the government and how we fund this growing cost of healthcare in our nation. And, working through those different payment models and working with our partners and establishing the best structure that we should have going forward. And I think about OSF, we've positioned ourselves very well from a financial sustainability perspective. We've always focused on ensuring that we're investing in our future, whether it be innovation, digital strategies, et cetera, but also protecting the health of our finances. So we've done both so that we could weather a COVID, other financial disruptions, but we haven't gone so far that we're not also investing in our future. I think that's my job, is to ensure that we have the resources to be able to invest in the future, but still protecting the sustainability for.
Are you going to call it the corridor of control? Is that what you're going to call it? Okay.
I'm resisting, but yeah, that is our.
I knew that's what she was going to say. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add is the importance of agility as an organization to be able to make changes that we need to. I think we learned that through COVID, and we've really demonstrated our ability to do that as an organization, and we need to just maintain that because there's more, as you articulated, there's definitely more challenges ahead of us, but I think we're very prepared and we need to be agile and rely on the foundation that Michelle spoke about.
You have to ferret out the signal from the noise. We are always going to have to work on cost structure. Okay, we really have to focus on, delivering care in the highest quality manner across our system. We have to master the way we do that in our rural settings, and we have to innovate. I mean, those things, it's not going to change, regardless of all of the noise that's happening around us.
But where you started in a clinical world 30-some years ago
Yeah.
to the clinical world now, oof.
Very different.
Yeah,
We had paper charts. We had the big purple paper charts. I mean, yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, can you even imagine that same world now? It wouldn't be doable.
No, it would not be doable. No.
And people have to come along for the ride. And some people are resistant. I get it. But you're right. The sisters have led the way. We have to sit there and look at the beacon and just.
They've always been innovative.
They have.
I mean, that's the nature of it. Necessity is the mother of invention. And they knew that. They knew, when they came here, they knew that they had nothing, honestly. And they built from that. And that's, really the legacy we're standing on.
I always say it's prayerful and planful.
Yes.
Because sometimes people will want us to react very quickly. Again, living in the media world, they're like, oh, we need this today. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen. And they have to understand why, because it takes a while to get to the decision because you want it to be the best decision in the long run and meet all of the needs of everybody. When you think about the breadth, 17 hospitals, Upper Peninsula of Michigan, all the way down to Alton, Illinois, and the whole width of the state of Illinois. That's a lot of territory to cover, and no two areas, for the most part, are the same. Everybody has their own needs. So it's always interesting. Okay, let's look at the 64,000-foot level before I wrap it up. My last question to you. If you could look back to your high school self, to your younger self, and say, what would you say to that person sitting here looking at where you're sitting now from a pretty good location and a good view? What would you say back to yourself who may not have been as confident and, put together? What would be your message back to your younger self and the younger selves that might be watching?
I'll go back to maybe what, thinking about some of Emily's comments, like believe in yourself. Having that confidence and don't be afraid to go for it. And also, you can still be kind through it all. Kindness doesn't mean weakness, and focusing on, being successful and, again, just believing in yourself.
I would probably just say I was such a planner. Anyone who knows, no surprise.
She planned for this morning, by the way.
She did.
I was in such a hurry to always get to the next step that I immediately, I think 2 weeks after I graduated college, I started my first job. I, did all these. I wish I would have relaxed a little bit and enjoyed the ride. I mean, clearly it served me well. I love what I do, and I feel, honored to be in this position, but I probably would have told myself just to relax a little bit more and to enjoy where you're at, not be so anxious about what's next.
I guess I would say be open to God's calling. It's never linear. I think sometimes people think, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do. That's not the way it happens. And so I think if you're open, you can see some things that will give you such great experience, and they may not have been on your mental roadmap. But if you're really open to that, I think you can build a level of skills that will surprise yourself.
And with that, I am going to wrap this up. Michelle Conger, Kirsten Largent, Emily Shields. It's been a great conversation. I've enjoyed it immensely. Thank you for taking time out of the busy schedules to join us. And thank you for joining us as well. And remember, you can find all episodes of OSF HealthCare Accelerated at osfhealthcare.org/accelerated.